Hello my dear ones, I am Naida Abbas and welcome to my Gemstones rendering masterclass. I have prepared a template where we will be tracing shapes and cuts of the gemstones on tracing paper, and then from the tracing on the drawing paper, which has to be 200 grams thickness, and Dahlia & Brownie is a good brand for that. Otherwise, any other paper which has a little texture will do. You will need soft eraser, normal eraser, graphite mechanical pencil or normal pencil HB, and gel, white gel pen. But before we begin, let me explain something about gemstones and the structure of it. Now, the gemstones, they called faceted because they do have facets. And if you look at the breakdown of the gemstones, you'll find that on the top of the gemstone, the faceted stone, we have table, which is surrounded by facets on the top, girdle on the side, where the setting will go, pavilion on the bottom, which you can see from the bottom view, and culet, which is the middle from the top. It will be mentioned like a middle dot on the top of the most of the gemstones, except a baguette or princess or emerald cut. So let us begin. We will start with a template where you will need to choose your favorite. We will start with round one because round one is the most important and most common brilliant cut which is used in jewelry design. At this point, I need to point out a middle, which is culet, because the facets of the pavilion will show through the table, and that we need to mention before rendering or sketching in black and white. Same I'm going to apply for the other stones, which will go into my drawing final paper. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the texture, flip over and place tracing paper in the corner with my gemstone and go over it line by line. You will then have a vague drawing like so, which you need to go over with a pencil. My lines are quite thick, but later on we need to retouch it with soft eraser. With a soft eraser, just to make it lighter before you go into the full rendering by crayon pencils. So So we have crayon pencils here. A good brand is Daleroni. If you don't have it, you can use a normal graphite, but crayon pencils are good because they don't leave shine, and those ones are good for sketching in general for any artist. Next step is to trace your favorite shapes, just like I did here. Flip over and then do the same procedure just like we did with the first one. I recommend that you practice different setting. For example, if in this case here I used basil setting, then in trillion cut I used prong setting, and prong settings can be different shapes. If here they're protecting the corners of the stone, then in the pear shape we have two types of prong setting, which is the corner, protecting the corner from being chipped, and round shape of the prong setting. And in emerald cut we have slightly long oval kind of shape of prong setting, again to sit in your jewelry piece and protect the corners of the stone to be broken. At this point we have to consider a few things. The most important one is the source of light, and the source of light always comes from the left upper corner, and therefore shadow will be the opposite side, 45 degrees. And when you start rendering, sketching, you always start with the darkest one. So what I'm going to do is that using crayon pencil HB, starting with the table, and start shading the pavilion facets, like so. From the center, culet, then we need to move to the facets next to it. And the opposite will be the darkest one. The next facet is a little bit lighter by value, which we have to mention. When you go opposite side here, where the light is coming from, then right next to the triangle facets, right after that we have facets which we have to shade dark. Also, as you work on your paper, I suggest to use a piece of paper which protects your sketching paper from getting dirty. So once you're done with the light and shadow, we have to consider reflection. And reflection is always lighter than the shadow, but darker than the lightest part of the object. Also, the outline of the girdle, which I'm doing right now, will put your stone together. Now we have to pay attention to this medium between very dark and very light. So, and those will be fallen into the facets and the down right corner. So the way I'm approaching it like a normal, like natural shine. And this is where then you apply this kind of technique where you are applying strokes from the center to the sides. At this point you can switch to the 2B pencil which will increase the value very, very dark in necessarily areas like this particular place I'm working on, which is the left upper corner of the table of the stone and opposite 45-degree triangle facets of the stone. Those will be the darkest ones. And the rest is basically, and the lightest ones are going to be in the opposite side, which is these 3 triangle facets. And the rest is just a play of shades, imitating the shine of facets and reflection. Now you can focus on the bezel by drawing the outline with HB pencil, which I'm using right now. Leaving the spot for the light, indicating the darkest part, which is going to be in the down right corner, like so. Also, what you can do is you can kind of, and that is only if you want to show this kind of visual elevation from the ground, to give a little shading, just for the beauty of it. When you're drawing the whole jewelry piece, you don't need to do that, but because we are just doing the illustration of the stones, this will give you that little complementary effect. Now, by using a razor, I'm going to highlight the shine, and I'm done. Same thing I'm going to do with other stones, and I will show it to you right away. Here we are, my dear ones. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Our next session is going to be dedicated to the color rendering of gemstones. And if any questions, please let me know. Happy designing!